Watch the wind profile forecast, it does look like tropical storm force winds starting at 7 o'clock and really staying with us for a few hours, and then seeing some even stronger tropical storm force winds through 10 o'clock and then continuing to move up. So keep in mind, we're keeping tropical storm force winds for at least 4 hours now. We're looking at 5, 6, and then even 7 or 8 hours of tropical storm force winds. So that prolonged period is where we could start to see some trees falling, and then we start to lose power. So that's part of why we're saying make sure you have your devices charged so that you can watch us still streaming online. And as we see the rain bands move in, those winds could continue to help some of the power lines fall as well. We are still looking at about 2 to 6 inches. Notice that the bullseye has moved and shifted a little farther east because that track shifted back a little farther to the east. We also have flash flood watch for the entire area because of the rain coming in, and flood warnings along our rivers. Now, the water pushing up is going to cause some of that river flooding, and then the rain falling on top of it. So the Biloxi River is under a flood warning. It's below flood, but it's expected to crest at 15 feet on Wednesday evening. The Wolf River at Bells Ferry expected to crest at 8.5 feet on Thursday morning, and then the Chudacabuff near D'Iberville is expected to crest at 9 feet, which is a foot above flood stage, late on Wednesday morning. Now, as far as the warnings, you can see the rain, the watches and warnings, the flash flood watch all the way up through almost the entire state. A hurricane warning for us, and this is going to be more than likely through tomorrow. It will lift actually probably overnight tonight, and then a tropical storm warning pretty much all the way around that hurricane warning. And then we check out our futurecast. So this is the one that we generally use to get an idea of what's going to be happening. By about, I think, 7 o'clock, that's when we're going to start to see the onslaught of the rain that's going to pretty much last. Maybe a few breaks here and there, but it's really when we're going to start to see that initial push of Gordon moving into South Mississippi. So you'll notice by 8 o'clock, still seeing that rain, really starting to see some of the heavier rain. And at this point, it's looking like folks basically west of Highway 49 are not going to be seeing nearly as much rain as the people on the east side of Highway 49. But by 10 o'clock, seeing this system starting to really broach parts of Jackson County as it moves up toward the north. Very heavy rain bands associated with it, and that continues to lift to the north. This is at 1 a.m. and then by 3 a.m. seeing a lot of that rain moving with it, but now there still is expected to be some wind with it. Also, because it shifted back a little farther east, not sure if you saw that trail of rain. If it shifts farther east, that tail is going to keep the trail of rain also off to our east. That is also good news for us because we wouldn't see that training setting up behind the storm. And then taking a look at the wind futurecast, this is showing the winds really starting to pick up by 6 o'clock, seeing 15, 20 mile per hour winds, and then we start to see 30. You start to see the purple broaching in, and then even 22 in Lucedale. Notice the Lucedale number stays fairly high as we move through the evening hours. The system does look like it's going to be moving up pretty much toward the north and maybe just to the west of Lucedale. So that would be the worst side of the storm for folks in Lucedale to be on, and of course Jackson County as well. And then that moving up, notice by 2:30, still seeing 30 mile per hour winds in Lucedale, and then continuing at 4 a.m., starting to see those numbers dwindle down. So by sunrise, it does look like a lot of the wind and the rain should be out of South Mississippi. So that's something, of course, that we're watching as well. Tropical Storm Gordon is a 70 mile per hour storm moving northwest at 15 miles an hour. It's 95 miles now southeast of Biloxi, and we are still under that hurricane warning because we may not see sustained hurricane winds, but we certainly could see some hurricane wind gusts. Now, when we talk about and we dissect the storm, you have your front right quadrant, and that's this. So this is really where the eye was just depicted for Tropical Storm Gordon. When you take the crosshairs on that, generally the worst part of the storm is going to be the right side and that top quadrant. So this is where, and you'll notice where the majority of the activity is, and that's what's pushing onshore and really about to hit parts of the panhandle of Florida and then over into lower Alabama. This is on that northwesterly track, so as it continues to move up, that is going to be shifting off toward the northwest as well. So this whole line and this band around the eye is going to keep pushing onshore and pushing toward South Mississippi. So as far as the potential storm surge, we've been talking about this, and we have had an update. It has lowered over into Hancock County, so greater than 1 foot. This is a new situation, a new model, a new product that the National Hurricane Center is using, and it's been tested for many years, the colors and everything. But this is basically, if you are standing in this particular area right on St. Louis Bay, then there is a 90% chance that you are going to see a greater than 3 foot storm surge, which is water up your pant leg. And I know I've been talking about that a lot, but it's not necessarily above sea level, because people say, well, but I'm 2 feet above sea level. It's where you're standing. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to factor in sea level anymore with this new storm surge forecast. This is where you're standing, and then the blue is greater than 1 foot. So there's a 90% confidence with this forecast that the storm surge would be greater than 1 foot in the areas in blue. But also notice the areas in yellow, that's greater than 3 feet. So as we head over into the Long Beach, Gulfport Harbor, and then even into the Biloxi harbors, you see the 1 and 3 feet, and then back along the Chutabath, the Wolf River, the Biloxi River, and then over into the Pascagoula River, a lot of above 1 foot, and then down into Gulf Park Estates in southern Jackson County, seeing some areas of potential storm surge of that greater than 3 feet. That's the yellow that's showing up, is the greater than 3 foot storm surge. So we're still thinking 2 to 5, and 5 being the very high end, and 2, of course, being the low end. And that's going to be in the low-lying areas and along the rivers, and where we generally see that water rising. And a lot of that is that pushing up into South Mississippi. Our temperatures, not too bad right now. We have had some wind gusts, though. We'll get to that, though, in just a little bit. Let's look outside. Look how gorgeous it is right now from our Mississippi Power Tower cam on top of Beau Rivage. It is shaking. We're seeing the wind picking up for sure as we look out from Hancock Whitney off toward the west, and then looking north, the definite gloomy sky as we look north. So we are going to continue to track Gordon as it gets closer to the Mississippi coast. Right now, we'll head back over to Dave and Karen.
All right, thanks.